Hi friends, welcome back. So I want to go over some comments coming in from the community today. This is coming from Bill just 3 minutes ago, and Bill says, this is nothing but an anti-Elon FUD channel. Bill also goes on to say, I'm still on Team Musk, Team Tesla. They are on the verge of solving self-driving and robotaxis. Elon turns the impossible into late. I want to talk about this because if you want to be popular on YouTube, you tell everybody that Santa Claus is real and that you're all going to be rich. And your goal, again, if you want to be popular on YouTube, is to make people like Bill happy because this is your largest audience on YouTube. So again, Santa Claus is real and you will be popular. However, not everyone necessarily wants to live in the world of Santa Claus. And that's essentially the decision that you have to make for yourself. I made a video just yesterday about Mr. Beast and Elon Musk and about the fraud charges going on with them. And this is actually a comment coming from Holly, and I want you to listen to what she has to say about her son. It's really interesting. This is just yesterday. It says, I watched it last night before bed, and we're talking about the video, talking about Mr. Beast, whether or not he's a fraud, and then this is what her son said. Then I had my 10-year-old son watch it with me this morning. He was very disappointed learning how rigged it is. He told me Mr. Beast is no longer his favorite YouTuber. I felt bad showing it to him, but I think it's important that he understands shady tactics. And essentially, again, this is the question that I posed to you. Do you want to believe in Santa Claus, or do you want to know the truth? and guys, it's a tricky one because it's fun to believe in Santa Claus. I'll be honest with you. It's fun. I mean, he's got these cool reindeer. He's got this cool suit. He gives you presents. I mean, who doesn't like Santa Claus, right? And that's the choice we have to make every day when you put content on, say, YouTube or whatever social media is. Do you want to keep perpetuating the dream, the fantasy, or do you want to talk about the reality? Tesla's profit fell 45% in the second quarter. And I bring this stuff up because sometimes people write in comments, oh, Chris, why do you always hear bad news all the time? Why are you such a bear? It's just like, I don't really consider myself a bear or a bull. I just consider myself like an honest person and I live in reality. I don't like make stuff up, and we go through the headlines every day. I mean, I don't know what to say. And what's sad is there's people out there that just don't want to believe anything unless it's Santa Claus, of course. And that's what ends up we're talking about. Now, to answer Bill, I actually want to go back and look at some older articles. This is from 2016, guys. So 8 years ago, this was the headline. 8 years ago, 2016. It says, a driverless Tesla will travel from LA to New York by 2017, says Musk. And that obviously didn't turn out to be true. We have another headline, again, from 2016. Tesla wants new self-driving tech to autonomously road trip from LA to New York. And if you read the details of this, again, from 2016, and the reason why I'm bringing this stuff up is, if you want to get good at anything in life, it's not crazy to learn from the past, right? Essentially, what I'm trying to say is that Elon Musk is making these wild promises for years, right? He says without the need for a single touch, right? You're going to be able to go from LA to New York. There's another quote. Our goal is we'll be able to demonstrate, do a demonstration drive of full autonomy all the way from LA to New York, from home in LA to dropping you off in Times Square, and then the car will go park itself, right? That was the promise. And what's interesting about this is back then, was the talk back then, that capability will be enabled in large part by the company's newly announced hardware, which equips new Tesla with 8 360-degree cameras and 12 ultrasonic sensors. The system will also be subject to continual software updates to spot bugs and improve processing. And even back then, Germany was like, yo, we got to investigate this stuff. Stop using the term autopilot because you're getting people killed, right? Fatal crash. The issue, which is really quite interesting, I want to point to here, is before they were talking about using sensors. That was the thing that they were used to talk about. But these days, they realize that sensors are just too expensive, right? And we don't need sensors. We just can use cameras. So it's not about like efficiency. It's about saving cost. But the problem is if you remove sensors, it may not actually ever work. And this is something that I write about quite a bit in my book, is learning from your mistakes and living in reality. I call this positive angle. You guys can check it out. And it's also about overcoming adversity. So I'm not against having optimism. I'm not against dreams per se. I just don't necessarily think that we need to perpetuate Santa Claus all day, every day. But again, if you want to be popular on YouTube, that is sort of the thing that you want. My point of view is learn from history. Also, too, this is coming out July 31st. You can see this here. Tesla had a major recall, 1.85 million U.S. vehicles. There's some issue with like the hood where the computer doesn't know whether or not your hood is down. And that could actually be a real problem if you're driving around and it turns out that your hood's not down, it flies up. And I'm sure you guys can imagine that the tomfoolery, we'll just say that, that could happen. And what's and I don't mean to make a joke. I'll just say that this is a real issue, right? Just the hood will fly up. Okay. I know we make jokes sometimes, but the reason why I sort of sobered up a bit was this is real. Somebody died. This was in Seattle, and the authorities. It was a crash, and the authorities determined that the driver was using full self-driving. I think what they did, they hit a motorcycle. This will probably be some sort of lawsuit or something like that. And what's interesting is the Wall Street Journal did an article and actually a pretty in-depth documentary video just yesterday. I saw it, and they're basically talking about how Tesla only relying on cameras and no sensors is probably never going to work. And this is part of the problem that we have these days is like we're living through this. That's the right word to say, Santa Claus era, where we just keep believing in this person's perpetual fantasy. And unfortunately, this is sort of why I take this more stuff seriously, is people do get hurt. It is a real thing. And I think what makes this stuff so hard to talk about as well is you have like this cult following that doesn't take other people's lives seriously. And I want to pose this question to you. Just think about this. Is it even logical or safe or practical to release like unfinished software to the public? Just regular old people to beta test something, right? Put it in a vehicle and people can get hurt. Now, Tesla's defense, they'll say, well, we put up warnings that the thing, you have to watch it and you have to keep your hands by the wheel, etc. But like you give, this is just how it is, the practicality of it. If you give like untrained, not professional drivers, right? So essentially, and you put them in a beta test environment, this is the kind of stuff that's going to happen. Moreover, I guess if you want to get the data from this, they show this in the video in Wall Street Journal in the article. If you want to get the data of like why a Tesla crashed, you have to actually go to the car, the crash car itself, and then get the data from the car. And it's interesting because they show like a mechanic who works on crash Teslas all the time, and then he has to send the car's computer, and I think they show it in here. He have to send the car's computer to hackers, and then hacker can pull the data, and then you can actually see for yourself, why the cars are crashing. And oftentimes, because of the way these things work, is that the cameras they don't learn in the way that Elon Musk kind of portrays it. They learn, like, for example, this is a picture of a overflip, a turned semi, like sideways. They learn to try to recognize that thing by images. But if the camera comes across something that it's never seen before, they don't know what it is. And so that's why you may have like cars just run off the road, or cars crash into vehicles that are overturned, something like that, because it's not like how you normally see in a semi, which is just driving down the road and when the wheels are down. Or if you have multiple cameras, some cameras might show like the car that Tesla's seeing is flying, or somewhere underground. Like you'll have all kinds of different things. I guess Tesla is going to make the case that, hey, the more that these things are on the road, the better it's going to be. I'll just say maybe. And I say a big maybe because I still think, just practically speaking, you're going to need to have some sort of sensors in this thing if you ever want it to work. Obviously, Elon Musk and stuff like that will tell you differently, but I'm just showing you guys this stuff. There's another headline: Elon Musk signals reaching limit of Tesla's HW3 despite self-driving promise. It always is the same, right? They make you these big promises and they don't quite keep them. And this is something that I show you guys all the time, right? I just go through the headlines with you about what's going on. Are there recalls, which there are? Are there fatal crashes, which there are, unfortunately? And whatever reason, though, people still believe in the stock. What's interesting, though, about this stuff is that Elon Musk himself has said, hey, you either believe we can solve full self-driving and autonomy, and if you do, buy our stock, and if you don't, sell our stock. and so this is why it becomes a really contentious issue, because you're dealing with, one is, what do our eyes tell us, right? And what does data tell us? And then you're also dealing with a cult following that don't necessarily tell you everything all of the time. They only tell you positives, right? And so it is really a problem, if you guys understand what I'm saying. And then the sort of disconnect that you'll find is that people's eyes, right, tell you one thing, and then your cultists will tell you a different thing. Like, oh, well, don't believe your eyes. Just look at this. Don't believe that people die in these car crashes. Don't believe it. It's all made up. And it's like, then these people, regular people just get confused, and then they just think, okay, it's just all lies. I'll give you a simple example, okay? Elon Musk says he expects China to approve Tesla's full self-driving by the end of the year, okay? So basically the headline is, this is Elon Musk's opinion that China's going to let him, have his FSD there, right? And sell it and stuff like that. Now, what's crazy about this, and again, this is just the world that we live in, is like, oh, okay, Elon, the guy who promised me full self-driving, in 2017, 7 years ago, it didn't happen, but yet, like, we still value what this guy says. It's all the time. Oh, next year it's gonna happen, or by the end of the year, right? And even Morgan Stanley, which is actually really interesting, they came out by saying, hey guys, you should all buy Tesla stock. And what they don't tell you is, hey, Elon owes us a bunch of money for the Twitter deal. It's like in the $1 billion kind of category, not like millions. We're talking about billions here that he owes him. And moreover, even in Morgan Stanley's own, quote, positive note, they don't even expect Tesla to be driving these full self-driving stuff or robo-taxis in China. That it says that in the thing, and I went for the yesterday. The sad thing about it though is even though Morgan Stanley, they don't lie, so they don't lie in their report. They just kind of like put the negatives at the bottom of the report, put the positives at the top, and the positives aren't even that great. The positives are like, hey, Tesla is within margin of error of our estimates, and just like, think how ludicrous that is. So they don't mention the drop in 45% profits. They just say, hey, we gave them a low bar of estimates, and they're right there, guys, and therefore it's an awesome stock. It's like, okay. And then you read these other headlines, and I'm going over this stuff because, if you read everything and kind of, hey, I'm going to read everything and try to understand everything that's going on, it paints a very clear picture. But what happens is oftentimes is the Tesla cultists, they need the followers to have low information. Or if they do show this kind of stuff, they just tell everyone it's all lies. And it's kind of a weird thing. I just go through everything with you, which I think is the most, what's the word to say, responsible thing to do. So like, for example, this is an interesting headline. How do you solve a problem like Elon? And the basic gist of it is that they're losing money over at Twitter/X, right? So which isn't a big surprise. Elon Musk told advertisers to go, F themselves. You guys know this. And for a platform like Twitter, your revenue, right? You make money by selling advertising. And if you piss off people who want to give you money to keep your company going, it's not a great business model. The other thing that was kind of funny, I showed you guys before, Elon Musk wants to sue people who are boycotting his platform, which is kind of crazy in itself. It is what it is. And you get these other headlines. Don't feel sorry for Lisa Yasarino, or another one, CEO, ex-CEO Linda Yasarino contends with pitfalls of sharing power with Elon Musk. The basic gist of it, and you get multiple reports, and these are multiple publications, not just one, is that she's trying to turn the revenue around over at Twitter/X, but Elon always undoes the deals that she tries, and so don't feel sorry for her. She got herself into this, and it was her choice. Now on Tesla, if you want to hear something positive, and this is what the bulls will all be jumping up and down about, the Tesla Y may have a new taillight. That is the big refresh, the big news. Look at this new taillight that they're going to have. And it's funny because put this together, and again, I show you guys everything with another headline. Chinese EV makers are outpacing Tesla in one key area, and this is just coming out today. Basically, the gist of it is that the Chinese EVs, they develop new models and new tech at a faster pace. So it's interesting. It says here, I'll read it to you. It says, the Washington, D.C. think tanks, this is called the Infotech and Innovation Foundation. Chinese EV companies are 30% faster when it comes to developing and releasing new car models than automakers in other regions, including Tesla. And it says here, Chinese companies on average, this is interesting, only take about 1.3 years before they update or refresh their EV models, while brands from other countries, including the US, take an average of 4.2 years. So talking about China here, you can see they're just putting out new models all the time, and they're doing it very, very quickly, as you can see. And this is a major problem for Tesla, is they haven't refreshed their cars. And guys, if you understand the car market, you want to put out new models to keep up with the current trends, to get people to come through the door and buy your vehicle. And yes, it is true, Tesla released the Cybertruck, but it wasn't really priced or designed for your average person. And I think that was a big, big mistake. You even get this headline just 5 hours ago: Tesla doesn't know how to sell cars to normal people. And I would completely agree with that. I think they really dropped the ball by not just putting out, hey, just put out a regular car. That's all you have to do, and keep the ball going forward, get people hooked to your car. One way the car industry works is you put out that sort of cheaper car first, get someone, comfortable with your brand, comfortable with your dealerships or whatever, comfortable with your service, comfortable with your chargers. And then if they want more luxury features on your brand, then they go up to the higher models. But you got to figure out a way to introduce stuff to regular people. But honestly, guys, and this has been in the book, the Isaacson book, Elon was just not interested in a cheap car for regular people. It's just not something he's interested in. And that's fine. That's just his thing. He's not interested in it. And moreover, now he's becoming, a divisive figure with all of this crazy stuff that he puts out in X all the time. And it was kind of funny. You can dig through the weeds if you really want to, but I'll just say the Tesla stock promoters are now fighting amongst themselves. Do we support Elon on everything that he does? And it's an awkward thing, because for me, guys, it's a car company, and do you like the car? You don't like the car? Does it have the features that you want? And does it offer you good value? It's a car. But for other people, it's like a religion, and they think of like a cult, you could say, and they think of Elon as God. And if Elon says something, that you have to follow everything that Elon says. But the problem is like, you're talking about a dude that just like tweets out nonsense all the time, like memes, and tweets out like, I'll say it kindly, pictures of people without clothes. I'm not making it up. Like he does that, and like, memes of like dogs and stuff. It's like, what is this guy up to all the time? And I could go through every single thing that he does all the time, but it's just too exhausting. And that's part of, how do you handle being part of the cult? And again, for me, it's just a car. But this also represents part of the problem of living in USA. And I want to use this example because I always try to explain USA to friends in Europe, friends in Asia, etc., just friends around the world, because Americans are a bit funny. Here's a good example. Climate change is fueling the U.S. insurance problem, okay? And for those of you, and this is just coming out, this is back in March of this year. For those of you who live like in a place like Florida, for example, you would know this. Your insurance is going through the roof. You got flooding and hurricanes and all kinds of stuff over there, right? And then you're like part of your land in Florida is like kind of whittling away. Is that a good way to say it? And it's not just Florida. There are other states out there that are like this. And there's some people who just don't want to believe in stuff like climate change. They just don't want to. And then they'll just see their house sink underwater, and then they'll see the insurance rates go up, or but I just don't want to believe it. it's just like for some people, beliefs are like really, really strong to change despite all the evidence and the facts. It's hard, and then they end up paying with their wallet, and they get confused and frustrated because the reality doesn't meld with their beliefs, right? You tell them that Santa Claus isn't real, and they just like have this big meltdown and freak outs. And it's sort of the stuff and why you see people go crazy on social media, because again, reality doesn't match with their beliefs. Guys, I when I talk about reality, I say, hey, please take a look at our other videos. So we went to an auto show and we looked at other brands. You may not know this, but there are other brands out there other than Tesla. I laugh because like I actually like cars. I think cars are fun, and it's fun to look at other brands. And so if you haven't seen this video, please do. And actually too, we made two videos. One's on our main channel. The other one is on our vlog channel. And we looked at a bunch of old cars. So they had a whole bunch of old ones, like a Cadillac was there, and they had a Ferrari was there, and just a bunch of different stuff. They had a little old Mini, which is really fun to take a look at. And just the point being, there's lots of cars in the world, not just a lot more than just Tesla. But again, if you try to explain Americans or the Tesla cult, to other people. This is the best way to describe it. You're talking about like flat Earth kind of people, essentially. They're set in their beliefs, whatever they want, and this is real. And I don't know if other countries have flat Earth like conventions. I don't know. This is a headline. I'm not ashamed. Flat Earthers find kindred spirits in the Denver Convention Center, and these kind of people believe that the globe and the Earth is fake. So how would you convince someone that the Earth is not flat? I mean, and that's a challenge that I feel like that YouTube is every day. But again, if you want to be popular on YouTube, just tell them that Santa Claus is real, and you'll keep people like Bill happy. So anyway, I'd like to hear your thoughts on all these things. I always appreciate your time, and I'll catch you in the next video.